Hi, good afternoon, everybody. You know, it is this time of year. Yes, may not have been the time of year that I would like, but for the gentleman I'm about to have on my show, he's not a stranger to the show. He's been on the Rude Dog Show before, but this was a little while, a little time separation. You can go back in time and warp speed, Captain, but you guys should know him already. If you don't, you should be paying attention to the USFL, which is kicking off its, I don't know, a long hiatus, I must say. But the gentleman here on my left side, Sean Brown, you should be very familiar with Sean right about now. He's done plenty of articles, plenty of interviews. He's almost the face of the franchise outside of the quarterback position. And that clearly is Sean Brown. Sean, man, how are you? It's good to see you. I know we touched base offline, but how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing amazing. I'm just first things first. I'm happy to see you're doing well, Rudy. It's been a while. My family's doing great. We're doing great. Just moved out here to Atlanta and just excited and ready to go, man.
Nice. Very cool. You have
Mhm.
kind of gone the long road around when you think about where you started at. And again, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And you certainly
Right.
have done just that. You found yourself in kind of a hiatus mode, trying to find any league essentially that would really kind of challenge you to get back in this. And of course, you've done your homework already. The USFL has been around a long time. They've kind of been out of sight, out of mind, if you will, for about 20 years or so. But
Yeah.
something tells me that this season could be a very special one. Not only special for the people watching, clearly the audience is the end result to where you guys stand, but I would say the NFL alternative, which is not a bad one because there are a lot of guys, and you know this as well as I do, that have left the USFL very successfully, I might add, who have gone on to have stellar careers in the NFL.
Right.
So if you guys don't know who he is, he'd probably crush me at 6'10" at a wingspan. His hand size is obviously larger than mine. Mine are pretty big, but his are just absolutely out of sight big. Uh, what is it about this workout regimen? Tell me about the workouts. Tell me about how that's been preparing you to enter not only the USFL, but to put on your absolute best to shine in front of would-be NFL head coaches.
I mean, honestly, man, when you go this wrong road and you have to do different things, you got to try different things, new trainers. I have great trainers on this whole process. Like my trainers now, like they're great, like really great. What I mean, like what's so different now is we do a lot of resistant work training. So a lot of that stuff we do is a lot of push pulls. So if I'm pushing something, something's pulling me down, vice versa. And we doing a lot of tempo stuff. So everything relates to the field. I've caught myself in the past years ago where I would do workouts that weren't so relatable, but I was in shape. A lot of teams, NFL teams, reached out to my agent, myself, this few months ago or past summer, and just told me basically that we like you, we can get you in, but you just got to cut some weight. So that's what I did. I focused on cutting weight. Um, I'm on a strict diet plan now. I'm eating like more salads, more like fiber stuff. It's just a whole lot of stuff that they got me mixed in. Hot teas in the morning. But like I said, I enjoyed the process. I wouldn't change for anything. Of course, I would like to just take the easy route, but this made me a better person, better player, better man. And like I said, like today was today was probably the first day when I did my workouts, and I was just like, dang, my legs feel so heavy today. My trainers weren't tripping. They were just like, you've been doing two a days for about almost 2 months now. So like I'm definitely gonna get some workout. I'm gonna work out tomorrow for sure to get some good treatment in. But I'm very excited about what's to come in these next few weeks or these next few months with the USFL.
Sure, absolutely. I've watched you. I've interviewed you. You're no stranger to my show,
Right.
and of course, I wanted you to get drafted in the NFL. It didn't happen that way. Tell me about the emotional component to not being drafted, to being undrafted, playing with the Cedar Rapid Titans, Colorado Crush, Nebraska Danger, Philadelphia Soul, as well as the Salt Lake Stallion and the LA Wildcats.
Well, honestly, in order to go through this route, you got to really, really have tough skin. So I've met so many hundreds of people who would love to still play, but they just gave it up a lot. And I believe a lot of guys give it up because of financial reasons. Just sometimes making the wrong decision, they money, or just things has happened. People lose family members, like myself. I lost my dad, and it was just tough. So it was on this road I lost, and I gained a lot of friends, gained a lot of new relationships, and I tell anybody, like, if you're not ready for this, don't do it. And I mean by that, just you have to be mentally ready for this, because being mentally strong is just as good as being physically strong. There's been, I will lie to you right now, if I sat here and I said, oh, I never wanted to quit. There was times I wanted to quit. There was times people telling me to quit. There was times where my body was telling me to quit. But like I said, I had to change it up. And I look at, like, outside of football, I look at guys like LeBron James, who is a masterpiece, almost 40 years old and looking like he's 20, 21 years old. And I kind of study him and what he does. And he does a lot of mental stuff. Like, yes, he puts $1 million into his body every year. I don't have that, but I make sure I do all the necessary stuff, like, yoga, swimming. I do a lot of stretching. I pride myself in flexibility and strengthening that. So, and now that I just, like I said, in the last month and a half, 2 months, I cut about 22, 23 pounds down, and I'm feeling really good. And I didn't lose any strength. I actually feel stronger than I've ever been. So I'm really excited about that.
The road is sometimes an arduous one, and you said it best. Sometimes we have to lose, even though we don't know what we're gaining. There's a step along the way when we lose something so valuable. Of course, with COVID being what it was, and a lot of loved ones not able to be with their respective families to whatever extent, and isolation occurs, and things like that really play a toll and play mental tricks on you. And I don't know that there's anybody else who can attest to that, probably more so than I was isolated during the entire COVID situation. I didn't really go out. I didn't really do anything. How did you stay prepared mentally and emotionally through that? And of course, and with the passing of your father, my condolences to you there. How did you stay mentally ready?
I honestly believe, I think COVID made me a better person. Like, it sounds crazy, it is, because I had to really sit home and I had to really understand, like, a lot of times as an athlete, as a football player, as a professional, when something is taken from you, because that's what I call it when I was in LA, that was the Wildcats. It was taken away from us. When something's taken away from you, it's a void. It's like something, just, it's an empty void there. So I had to really learn and relearn how to love myself and relearn how to understand who I am and understand what my capabilities are outside of football. Because a lot of times what we do is, as athletes, if you sit here and a lot of us, like, what are you good at football? But when you take that away, like, what do you have after that? And a lot of us get lost. And so COVID really sat me down and made me really reevaluate myself, reevaluate my circle, reevaluate everything about my life. And I just learned, I just found the joy and the love to just love things again, period. I kind of lost it also when my dad died in 2016. Uh, it was an empty void there, and then this taught me kind of the same thing, because like years ago, I made a promise to my dad, I was going to continue to keep playing. And those who don't know, the reason why I wear number 65, or I'm going to wear number 65 this year, is because my dad died at 65. So I look at it as, 65 years of him blessing me, 65 years of struggle that he had to go through, and 65 years of greatness. After he died, they renamed the park after my dad in our neighborhood, and that's something I look forward to just living up to, and hopefully I have some kids and I can show them, and hopefully I can achieve that or something even better. But like I said, COVID really took me to a place where I haven't been to before. I had to really sit back and just relearn myself. And by relearning myself, I had to relove myself and just love who I am, and not just loving football.
You know, it's retrospect that we really find ourselves doing when we're faced with adversities, with the things that maybe didn't go our way, maybe those things that were on the cusp of getting to where we wanted to be personally, maybe and or professionally. It had taken a lot away from a lot of different people in those capacities, but now we're in 2022. It seems in some places COVID's not as much of an issue. People are getting vaccinated. They're getting the booster. I know I did. I went through that entire process. And it's coming up to near a 1 year anniversary where I almost died in a car accident. And it
Mm-hmm.
affected me
Wow.
internally. My liver was failing. My internal body components were failing. I was checked for cancer. There were a lot of things along the way that just kind of helped set the tone for what I'm doing right now and who I am right now, because it's about the experiences in life that we face and how we adapt to those, how we recognize the adversities that we deal with. And I'm not even referring to just the larger, I'm talking about the small things, the small issues, the small circumstances where we may not necessarily know where we're at, but we know where we're headed, and we have to get there. It's just a question of whether or not you're willing to put in the work, which you have for years to get to that point. This is where you're at right now, Sean, and I can only imagine it's only going to go up from here. I've always wished the best for you, for your family, for your professionalism, which you seem to take very seriously, your
Mhm.
personability, which has, and we've all grown. You've grown as well, and when you look at where you're at from a growth standpoint, were you trying to get drafted by the Philadelphia Stars? Did it just happen that way? Did all the cards just kind of line up for you to take advantage of this opportunity and hopefully get into the NFL?
I mean, of course, I'll be lying to say I was I knew this process was going to happen, or I knew, where I wanted to go. I didn't really know where I wanted to go until, once I knew, I kind of figured like, who's going to be the quarterback there, who's going to be the coaches there. It's all about, being familiar about, your coworkers or, well, my family, because I consider those guys my family. Um, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world, like the route I went, because like I said, I made amazing people along the way. And if God gave me the chance to say, would you want to go back and change something? I was like, I really wouldn't, because then if I change something, it will alter me meeting certain people. Those people have actually altered my life for the better. Like, they taught me great lessons. They taught me how to be a better person. They taught me how to be a better football player. They taught me how to be myself. And a lot of times we don't understand that. We lose ourselves because we don't want to be ourselves. We sometimes try to blend in too much and just forget who we are. So I've never lost that, and the main reason because of who I kept around me and the people I had along the way. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and I've always told myself, like, just keep positive people around me. I'm gonna keep positive people around me, and that's what happened. And then you'll start to notice, like, the negative people will just fall off. Like, sometimes it's not personal. It just happens. When you speak things into the universe, you'll be like, dang, me and this person was so close, but that's what happened. It wasn't as close as you thought. The universe always is going to come back full circle. It's going to show you what's real and show you what's not.
Well, you certainly have had the plethora of situations. You went all the way through LA, and now you find yourself being drafted into the USFL. I can't
Yeah, I'm just
imagine.
happy to be a part of history. Honestly, Rudy. I'm like this just happy to be a part of history, and also I'm very happy about my community. I'm like I said, I'm from Uniondale, New York, and a lot of young kids look up to me. Look up to where I came from, and for me playing football and going back down there to being a substitute teacher, you know. And then as kids, you're like, oh, this guy doesn't play professional football. This guy, and then when they see it, that feeling, that urge, they feel like, well, I could do that. And I tell them, nah, you could do better. I mean, by better is just, making right decisions. I've made my mistakes along the way, of course, but that made me a better person.
Well, we've always been, regardless of what you do in life, it's about where you finish and not where you started. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this from the onset of this show. And if anybody doesn't know who this is Sean Brown, drafted by the Philadelphia Stars. I'm Rudy Reyes of TheRudeDogShow.com. This will be posted on TheRudeDogShow.com. It's been a while. I would say this is almost like a redrafting interview, and I say that because when we initially have spoken many years ago, I was thinking to myself, man, whatever happened to Sean? What's going on with Sean? What's good with Sean?
Right.
And I thought to myself, man, I can only imagine where he's going to be, because I had always strongly felt that you were not only physically ready to go, but you were mentally ready, and you had everything. You had all the intangibles. You have all the measurables. You have all the consistencies. And what scouts need to recognize here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, is that they need to look at the individual. It goes beyond the measurables. It goes beyond the 40. It goes beyond the wingspan and the quickness off the ball and the snap. And it takes a lot more than that to be not only a good person, be a good brother, father, husband, and whatever capacity that is. And then when that's all said and done, then you can be a great football player,
Right.
because all those things are so much more important in life in general.
Uh-huh.
And when you put yourself in a financial situation where now you're wondering, man, if I only seen that guy was a baller. Now he's not a baller anymore. Now he decided to throw in the towel. How hard was it for you to just not give up on this?
Um, it was hard. Like, and it was kind of a roller coaster effect because I'll be here. It was always something where I'll be here and something to happen. Then I'll be here. It was something to happen, and it was more. I was just like, and I'm like, man, like I'm still getting better. Like I'm getting older, but I'm getting better. Like I'm just taking care of myself more. Like I said, I've really taken that LeBron James approach so seriously. Like I'm not old at all, but it's just like I watch him so much, and that man's almost 40 and he's dominating 20, 18, 19 year olds. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, I want that. And I want that for myself. I want that, and I even want that for my peers. Uh, yes, it was super hard. Really, like it was. It's not easy, but I embraced it. Like I really embraced it. And I'm still embracing it now. I'm more excited about the challenge that's to come, and I'm even more excited, especially after the meeting we just had with some of my old linemen, new teammates, new faces, some of my coaches. Just having a conversation and just being excited about playing with someone new and having their back and just learning who they are. And I'm more and more excited about learning who they are and so they can understand who I am, so we can go out and ball and win a championship for Philly.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, and you're technically not that far away from Philadelphia if you think about it geographically. On the other end of the spectrum, you were here. You were in L.A., and
Mm.
I'm like in the middle of the state geographically. When you think of those situations, those issues along the way, that really kind of makes you wonder, man, why did it happen this way? Have you ever really thought about any type of regrets based on what other people had done that affected your path to get to the next level?
Um, no, not really. Like I said, I've met some people along the way that weren't here for that long, and I'm glad. Maybe an agent, maybe a teammate, maybe a friend who I thought was a friend, but it didn't really change anything too much. They may have altered my path, but they didn't, initially, set it to where it's going to be. And honestly, I look at it as maybe that was God, or maybe that was the universe trying to, take me to a tougher road. And I've always learned, like, God gave the toughest battles to the strongest soldiers. So that's how I look at it.
Well, I think that you have a very promising future. I think that not only have you, and it was almost like night and day, Sean. When I had interviewed you the first time, there were some youthful things that I recall, and I've interviewed a lot of players, a lot of guys trying to get to the next level. But there was just something about you that said, you know what, this guy is resilient. He's been through everything and then some, but now finds himself on a track where he could actually do something more, not only for his community, for the Philadelphia community, for the fan base, but more importantly to yourself and to remember where you came from. Give me the
Right.
give me the biggest challenge above all other challenges that you faced along the way that have helped make you who you are today.
This is going to sound crazy, but I think losing my dad. Because when I lost my dad, before I lost my dad, like my dad, like I wasn't a spoiled kid at all. Like I'm the youngest. I have two brothers and a sister, but I'm the youngest, but I was always the biggest. My dad never really spoiled me, but he protected me. I say he protected me, meaning by he didn't let me go through certain things. Like he always kept it real with me about certain things, about challenges, and I didn't. But I didn't understand. Like I really didn't understand until literally when he died, and I went from being a young man to a man in a matter of seconds. Having to take over bills and just becoming a man. Like that right there alone, that's what really made me after that. Like all the things he taught me just kicked right in. So that let me know I had a great father and also a great teacher and most of all a great friend.
Well, something tells me that he's still there with you in some way, shape, or form, and he's helped kind of guiding you. Not to get
Mm-hmm.
overly spiritual, but he's there. He has your obviously has always had your best interest in mind,
Right.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and continues to kind of help facilitate what your next step is and where you're actually headed. Of course, this is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show. Sean Brown, the newest USFL guy, even has his own playing card, which is actually pretty cool. Uh, he's been on the show with you before. He's no stranger to how I do things. And Sean had actually reached out to me, and he's received a lot of interviews, a lot of interview requests. Look,
Yeah.
if you scouts in the NFL are even listening to this, or even taking time to go back into my archives and look at all the players that I've interviewed, Sean Brown should probably stick out to you for a lot of reasons. And if you're not watching this, you're missing out on those reasons. So go check out Sean Brown. He's got a lot of great things coming to the Philadelphia Stars. He has a very magnetic personality, great smile, good person, good steward for the game of football, and by far probably one of the best guys you'll probably have a chance to interview, and would be an asset above all else to the NFL organization that you represent. So go check out Sean Brown, go scout him, look at his game, look where he's been. If you have any questions, you can ask me, because I have firsthand knowledge of what this young man can do. He has tons of footage. He's been around for a few years, 6'4", 320, maybe a little bit south of that, which is always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
He's played multiple positions on the field. He's one of those key pieces to an offensive line from not only a unity standpoint, but from a technique standpoint, and all the arrows are pointing up for Sean Brown. Sean, hey, man, thank you so much. Great having you back on the show. Keep me updated. Let me know what's going on.
Man, I'll definitely leave you some tickets at the will call, Rudy, for sure. Just got to give me a call. I got you for sure.
I appreciate you. Thank you so
much. Of course.
And we will definitely talk soon. This is Rudy Reyes with Sean Brown on the Rude Dog Show. Again, this is going to be on YouTube. This is going to be on TheRudeDogShow.com. And wherever else I can be found, you'll be sure to see this video to come right along with it. Thanks again. Have a great day.